Hi there, Pajama Gramma. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. It looks like I moved my awesome stand for doing videos. Don't even ask me what it's set up like. My daughter's a photographer and she's embarrassed. But you know what? It's comfortable and it works for me and it gets the job done. And that's what counts. You can hear the thunder rolling in the background. We're having some weather go through here. So that happens. If we get cut off, we get cut off, and I will just have to make another video. Today, we're talking about Secret 16. Secret 16 of the Expert Secrets book, of course, and it starts on page, I need my magnifying glass. Here we go. 200. Woohoo! I probably could have remembered that if I had looked, but I didn't look. And we're going to break this chapter. This is the secret called Trial Closes. We're going to break this chapter into two parts. Do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's really, really important. And number two, we want to get some practice. And number three, I want to give you an opportunity to catch up and continue to work on your script for the last few days. And we're going to make some more scripting, and we're going to go back and add some scripting as we learn about trial closes, because they are so powerful. All a trial close is it is getting your audience, getting the person that you're speaking to, whether it's one-on-one or a group in a speaking environment or on a webinar or at a live event, whatever the situation, you can use trial closes. And guess what? They don't only work with business situations, they work with our families and our spouses and our friends and our significant others and our children. They're just a way of interacting and communicating with people that garners engagement. And so a trial close is all about asking questions, short questions and comments that get people nodding their head and shaking their head yes, or answering yes either in their mind or sometimes out loud or raising their hand. It's getting them to be involved and participate in saying yes. So by the time you get to the end of offering them something, they've already said yes hundreds of times to you, either out loud or in their mind, and they've been actively engaged in saying yes. So it makes getting them to say yes to your offer, agreeing with your stories and your Epiphany Bridge stories, and breaking false beliefs. If they're saying yes all the way along throughout your presentation, throughout what you're sharing, they're much more likely to say yes to your offer and have fewer objections because you've been answering their objections all throughout your presentation. So, trial closes, what the heck are they? And you can read in the book from page 200 to page, let's see, where am I going to part 2? It's just a couple pages we're going to talk about here because we're going to actually practice by making up a bunch of these. 208, I believe, but I'm wrong. It's 203. That is why I need my handy-dandy magnifying glass. Page 203. So it's just a few pages. And on page 202, he gives a bunch of examples of this in case you don't understand what I'm talking about. So as you're sharing an idea, as you're sharing an epiphany, as you're sharing a concept, especially after sharing testimonials, after a testimony is the perfect time to add trial closes because it gives you the opportunity to ask the person if they can see themselves enjoying that same result, if that would change their life. Can you see how that would help you in your life too? Doesn't that sound awesome? What do you think of that? Just a couple of examples. And here's some that Russell puts. Are you ready to get started? Are you getting this? Russell says, are you getting this all the time? Is that making sense? He says that one all the time too. If you've watched any of Russell or any of his videos, he uses these in everything he does now. It's not just his webinars and his sales presentations. It is actually part of his being now and who he is. He just automatically talks in writes and communicates in trial closes. And it makes him a much more effective communicator. I'm sure it makes him a much more effective parent and friend and spouse because he's always getting your input and agreement and alignment on everything. Can you imagine if that happened to you? Who here wants a free copy of whatever you're offering? Who else wants to make that happen in your life? Who else wants this amazing result in your life? Would you like to be our next case study? That's one you can almost always use after a good testimony. You've heard them talk about this before, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't that exciting? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how many times Russell says, isn't that exciting? Isn't that cool? Isn't that awesome? How cool is that? How fantastic is that? Am I right? He says all these so many times. Can you see yourself doing X, Y, Z? Can you see yourself driving that new Ferrari? Can you see yourself in that new house? Can you see yourself living in Colorado? Can you see yourself helping 100 people this year? Can you see yourself, whatever it is? And if they're shaking their head yes, that's exactly the response you want. I'm sure you've noticed this too, right? I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure you've felt this, but I'm sure you've thought this. And anything they can say yes to, even if it's breaking false beliefs. Have you ever felt that way? I'm sure you've felt that way too. If they're shaking their head yes, they're starting to build and buy into and actually interact with your stories that you're telling in your presentation. So that's it today. What we're going to do as an action today on our action sheet is we are going to brainstorm as many of these things that we would naturally say or that we could become comfortable saying as part of our communication and as part of our way of talking and interacting with people, both in a sales situation, in a way of presenting our material, and then just in everyday life. So start brainstorming a list of these things that you can use and start thinking about how you do communicate and the things that you ask people and the things that you say. Are they getting them to shake their head yes, or are they getting them to shake their head no? Because I know in my past, I would actually ask questions that were controversial, that would get a no response. And that wasn't getting me what I wanted. That wasn't creating what I wanted. So I've switched this up in my communications to get, and it's just a couple of words usually to change it from I want somebody to say yes to this versus I want somebody to say no to this. And if you have that skill, it will help you in so many areas of your life. So go out, brainstorm your list of trial closes, and I will see you tomorrow with the 16 closes because we're going to learn. Russell calls on 16 different closes, and there are thousands of closes. There's lots of other places you can find closes, but it's good to have at least these 16 in your toolkit so that you can call them and use them whenever the situation seems appropriate. Whenever somebody brings up a particular objection or reason for not buying or getting started with you now, you can call upon the closing technique or strategy that is most appropriate for what they're saying and what their objection is. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Bye. Do your action sheets. I love it when there's a messenger